Namaste. Welcome and greetings. I am Magick. It's gonna stop a virus. No. This
Got y'all listening now. Some witchcraft for that ass. Too late to turn away. Abracadabra and all that good shit. Yo. Hocus pocus, got you focused on my rhyme. Simply easy, now I'm eating couch potatoes, I recline. No, I'm joking as I'm toking power puffs and pokey yokes. Till my town and villa filled with ganja smoke, you know the dope. Coming out my pipes, talking about the bones in my throat. With the mic, I'm casting curses every night, you know the scope. Got my spells handy. You may call it the phone, but when I'm done reciting, you'll give me the keys to the throne. Then I take my keys to go home. Didn't say I was done. While rush to end it all, it feels amazing to have won. I'm not planning to ball, but why not take the chance to stunt? No, I don't need it all. Can think for thing I don't want. Do I worship the sun, or sold my soul for the tongue, or death since I was young, or got some voodoo done?
Namaste. Namastizzle. Peace and blessings. Peace, God. What's going on? Hip Hop Elevation. Good to see you. Peace, family. What's up, D? How are you? What's up, Ultra Instinct? The fam's in here. Hopefully, y'all are having a great day today. Today is Tuesday, July 22nd. And today is Day of Mars. How are y'all? I don't want to say handling, but how are y'all having, or what's the words? Your Mercury retrograde. How's it going for you? Peace, Lixer. I think I got it. Lixer. What's up? Hey, Nikki Love. What's the deal? How are you? Good to see you all. Again, today is Tuesday, Day of Mars. Colors blood red. And it's a Mercury retrograde. Now, common thought is that you should not do anything during a retrograde. You should just sit back, relax, release, reflect, rewind, all those R's. And that pretty much is true. If you are not in the habit of handling a Mercury retrograde, then maybe you should just chill as far as magic is concerned. Or do what you want to do. But the results of your magical work may be unpredictable. See what I'm saying? So before I even get started any further, I'm sure you've all heard the news. So I'm going to say rest in peace to Malcolm Jamal Warner. Rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne as well. I remember when I was younger, back in a long time ago, I remember the only thing I knew about Ozzy Osbourne is that he was a rocker and that he supposedly had bit the head off of a bat during a concert. So, yeah. I think are we in 4? Oh, yeah. I honestly, be perfectly honest with y'all, I have stopped paying attention to the retrogrades. I really stopped paying attention. I mean, I pay attention, but since it doesn't affect me anymore, I really don't pay attention. My Cherie, hey, how are you? Yeah, rest in peace, Ozzy. Yes. Greetings, Melanin Mommy. Always good to see you. How is the weather where you are? Yeah, peace, Brother Lloyd. What's the deal? What's going on? Yeah, I've been often called a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not going into any of that. You know what I mean? I'm not going into any of the gematria. For one, that's not my niche. For two, let the families rest in, let the families mourn. You know what I'm saying? At least that's my opinion. If you was to see from my side the comments, the posts, the threads on Malcolm Jamal Warner, you'd be like, really, like, wow, you know what I mean? But it is what it is, I just, continue to post my memes. It's just like, rest in peace, man. He was the cool kid on the Cosby Show, very positive young man. You know, 54 going out at 54 is just fucking wrong, ain't it? You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. That's just crazy. He accidentally drowned, is what the reports say. So they say a current is what carried him under. Now, that's plausible because if you've ever been in a river or a lake and there's a strong current, if you are a strong swimmer, there's a possibility that current will carry your ass like you're nothing. Different eras are collapsing. Look at Hellraiser in regards to everything changing around. Interesting, but I always know that you're gonna come with the thunder with that one. That's what's up. Michael Surratt, peace. You're not late. I just got started. Overcast, like in the middle 60s. Damn, I would love that. Texas is this the middle of summer and it's just miserable hot. What's up, Zo boy? Yeah, I agree. Too young. 54 ain't old at all. You know. Yeah, that's way too young, man. 54? That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Ozzy Osbourne, I think 76. If I'm not mistaken, he's 76. I think the reports are still coming out. I think this is fresh. I think it happened like today, like maybe an hour ago. I mean, peace, brother Moore. What's up? Yeah, Theo. Theo passed away. So, yeah, man. So I watched him to this day on The Resident. He was a great actor. Yeah. I watched Malcolm and Eddie. Um he's had guest appearances on so many things, you know what I mean? He was on The Fresh Prince, if I'm not mistaken. He was on that. Like I said, Malcolm and Eddie. And he transitioned perfectly, in my opinion, perfectly from child actor to an adult actor, So, yeah, he's a great actor. So, rest in peace, Malcolm Jamal Warner. You know, that is absolutely crazy to me, though. And then to hear about Ozzy Osbourne, I'm still looking at the reports on that one. Matter of fact, yeah, 76. Just weeks after the final concert with Black Sabbath. Crazy. It's the number one, it's like the main story um, when you go to Yahoo. And he had Parkinson's disease. We have crazy rest in peace currents here in Miami. Oh, okay. Gratitude. What's up, Cosmic Chaos? What's going on? Pour libations for him because he's a powerful voice. Not a coincidence he left during Mercury retrograde. Ozzy passed away today. He had Parkinson's disease that he's been battling for a long time. I remember his speech being messed up for forever. You know what I'm saying? But he passed away today. Cosmic Chaos. Oh, you're saying rip currents? Okay, gotcha. Rip currents. Okay. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like I said, there are other people who go into gematria as far as why he may have. I'm not gonna get into that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm gonna keep my thoughts to myself on all of that. But just rest in peace, though. What's up, Din Dun? What's the deal? You know, like I said, I think the last time we were talking, I was talking about sex magic. So I hope some of y'all have considered doing it. you know, when I had the magical group on Facebook in the month of February, but you can do it at any time. In the month of February, we performed a sex magic kind of or attraction kind of ritual from the 1st to the 14th. and people said they had great results. You know what I mean? So, sex magic works. If you come on this channel, that's pretty much what I'm going to talk about. Magic, period. Oh, give me a second. And remember, and no, I'm surprised nobody has asked me for this book. Absolutely nobody. Usually somebody will ask about the books that I show here. Nobody asked for this particular book. That's crazy. I I thought it was crazy, but a manual of sex magic. What I was showing, I just came across it, but it's made or published back in 1971. So potent is sex magic that even when practiced half-heartedly or by the inept, there's always some result. Isn't that crazy? There's always some result. So I'm trying to get to a point here. Let's see. Can y'all see this? I think y'all can see this. Y'all can see this, right? The actual technique of the sex magic, and it's funny, not funny, but this is the way Azazel Base spells technique. The actual technique of the sex magic involved in this exemplar is explained in a later chapter. Here, the man and the woman had attained to a condition transcending the normal self of getting the spirit of being inspired baptizers. Let's see. George X had been practicing what he knew of Sufi sex magic. Remember, Bobby told y'all that the Sufis were the woolly-haired ones. So you know who that is. Magic with intent, sometimes without apparent intent, and often subversive, is the first step. This intent must be followed by aspiration, and the aspiration must be fortified with the imagination. It is not far amiss to state that the magical imagination, 75% of all willed magic. Damn. Oh, and look at this right here. To be efficient in operative magic, powerful and realistic imagination is necessary. During the sex congress, the physical and emotional ecstasy is to be welcomed, but it is then in turn directed to feed the fire of the imagination, which is always kept in mind. That is very, very important right there. It's always kept in mind. This is hard for a lot of people, to try and keep your goal in mind while you're in the act. Sexual ecstasy, instead of being indulged in per se, is directed to fire the imagination of the objective, and is the most potent magic. I say this all the time. It is very potent. Regardless of all peripheral objectives, the abiding central aim should be the attainment of the knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel, or the daemon, as Jung calls it, or by another name throughout time. Okay? Very, very important. This is something that Aleister Crowley was teaching. Okay? And it's always been the goal of the occultists, the knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel. The central aim should always be an attitude in the operation. And for this, the general technique is to forget the personality of the partner, is congress, and to imagine and visualize her or him as a touchable manifestation of one's own divine lover, the daemon. Okay? Y'all with me? Peeps, Chikezi. Yes, it's small. Moonchild, what's going on? Hey, Sharon, what's the deal? There's more things to do besides have sex. All right. Attraction magic is really powerful when you combine it with other stuff. Like Crowley used this substance called Ruthva, Ruthvah. It is extremely hard to find. Okay, extremely. right? I still have it. This is over 10 years old. I want to say it's about, let's see, I want to say it's about 13 years old. Okay. I have barely enough left. And even when I had a lot of it, it wasn't very much. It probably came to about right here. Okay. It is extremely strong, right? And Crowley used this with sex magic combined with it. All right. It has 3 potent ingredients and they're all aphrodisiacs. Okay. It's called Rufa. I don't know a single soul who still uses this. Not anybody. All right. But y'all know me. I'm all for using the old ways. Okay. Rufa. If you put too much of it on, you will stink. You will actually smell like shit. Okay. Like I said, deer musk, I think, civet, Civet, and ambergris, Ambergris. I think that's how you spell it, but this is Rufa. All right. Peace. Envision your lover as your daemon. You couldn't do that. What's up, Sister Righteous? Peace and blessings, Legacy Sigma. What's the deal? Where can you get it? The only place I have seen this has been Etsy. That's the only place you can find it. All right. Unless y'all know of someone who can actually make it, because the ingredients are hard to find. Okay. And the ingredients. Look at that. I got still a little bit left. And that part is strong because you're supposed to put it on your temples. All right. Now you combine this with some kind of attraction rituals, such as what we did. I imagine putting that potent oil on plus rose water combined with Florida water on you, plus doing an attraction ritual, plus doing the Javanese ritual, plus doing the Om Clean mantra, and you have the ingredients for a very powerful attraction formula. You know what I'm saying? I do it just to check to measure the results before I give it to someone else. What's up, Derek Weatherspoon? Peace. Have you seen the video of the 22-year-old Florida man getting beat on by police? No, I haven't. I try very hard to avoid trauma porn. Okay. That's what I like to call it. Not surprised. Let's look. Fuck it. Let's see it. Where is it? I don't see it, and I'm on the Yahoo page. And I'm seeing heartbreaking details emerge about Malcolm Jamal Warner's final moments. Viral video shows Florida officers punch black man after he questions why headlights were required in daylight. It shows an officer smash a car window and hit a black driver. It's already over 2,000 comments on there. Huh. No, I hadn't seen that, Zoboy. I'm surprised I hadn't seen that. Usually, if I'm scrolling Facebook, I'll see something like that. Or, if it's viral, I should have seen it already. But no, I haven't seen that. I've seen other stuff, though. They're talking about these Labubus. Taraji Henson, seen that. Mexico has officially made the biometric CURP ID mandatory, now including fingerprints, iris scans, and photos in a QR code, with full rollout expected by February 2026. A lot of stuff is going on, y'all. A lot. What's up, Tosh? Good to see you always. And there she is, the homie Katrina. Namaste, Katrina. I was just talking about your videos that you sent me, Katrina. When you say them boys been wilding, are you talking about the cops been wilding? Isn't it always like that though? I ain't even trying to be funny. Isn't the cops down there like really like fucking KKK kind of, you know? Um, they always on one, right? Down in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. Um, you see Taraji Henson showing her ass, and then another one showing the front. You know what I mean? Showing the front. I mean, they they've made it to where uh, how can you fight against all this whole culture? Oh, it depends on the county. Okay, okay, got you. Let me show y'all what I'm talking about here. Um, they may flag me for showing this video, but fuck it, right? Fuck it. Okay, nothing is sacred. Nothing is ashamed by nothing. Offended by everything. Look at this. Whoa! 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 Nothing. Ashamed by nothing, offended at everything, though, right? It's crazy. That's crazy. Let's focus on Magick, though. Here. I was reading the 6 or 7 books. Is that Kabbalah magic? Absolutely. 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 Yes, that is Kabbalistic magic. Remember, Kabbalistic magic is very strong in this country. Driving, can you mix Rufa with money candle since it's for attracting? You can try it. I've never heard of that, but that's what magic is all about, trying and evolving with it. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to show y'all a couple of the books that was in my bag when I first got into my dark side journey. I was on the one like this book, the Necronomicon Gnosis. This is crazy. Here's the Invocation of Dagon. Look at that. I actually drew that. These rituals are powerful. You know what I mean? You're going to have some weird, fucking strange dreams. Dagon is an avatar of Cthulhu. Cthulhu, right? This is a powerful book. Necronomicon Gnosis. Asenath Mason. Remember, she has the Dragon Rouge in Poland. All right. I was in this book heavy when it first. I think I was in this book heavy before me and Terrain hooked up and started fucking with the Necronomicon. Okay. This book is powerful. There's another one summoning Cthulhu in it. They have they have the invocations in here and everything. I'm trying to find it. Yep. The invocation of Cthulhu into a dreaming mind. See this? I guarantee you will have some kind of weird experience dreaming. All right. All I remember is being in like an ocean. A large body of water is broad daylight. I was by myself. There was nothing else, and I wasn't afraid. All you could see for miles around was water, you know. And the other part of that was, I think, a large Cthulhu head or something. It's been years, but I was into this book heavy, 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 heavy. Penny Royal. Yeah, it is no joke. It really isn't. It really, nightmares are just weird. Depends on you. It really depends on you. I'm used to this shit now. And so Nothing's a nightmare. It becomes weird for me. What do you use that magic for in that book? This is just like for just like dreams. You know what I'm saying? In invocating, oh, I'm sorry, invoking these particular deities, shape shifting, sex magic, creating servitors. You know what I mean? Astral travels, scrying, evocations, and dream magic. All in this. I am pretty sure you can find this in PDF, but this book is no joke. It really isn't. Good question. This is another book. When I was doing my dark side journey, when I was into the ATRs like that, I love this particular book. This is about Kimbanda, Exu, and Pambajira. Okay. They got all the invocations in this book are in Portuguese. Remember, like I say, I think it is very potent to speak a spell in his native language. That comes from me. All right. You also have not just there's a lot. There's a lot of remember Exu and Pambajira, both are legion. There's many of them. Okay. A lot of names, a lot of sigils. Are there sigils in there? Maybe not. All right, no sigil. No? Oh, okay. Yeah. There's a sigil of Lucifer right there. Right? This is truly dark side magic, y'all. Dark side magic. And it says in here, I got a part underlined. It says many other Palmagiras are believed to have lived in France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, and other parts of Europe. A great deal of the magical workings of Kimbanda not only resemble African and Amerindian shamanic practices, but also show clear traces of European sympathetic folk magic. I don't know what's going on with my tongue today. All right, yet another one. Palo Mayombe. Like I said, when I was into the ATRs, I went into them heavy. All right, especially spirits like Lucero. Okay. I was drawing out all the sigils. Look at that. That's my drawings. Okay. I was printing them out too. I think that's Urzuli though. If I'm not mistaken, that's Urzuli. But I was drawing these out. Okay. And this book has this book is called Palo Mayombe, the Garden of Blood and Bones. All right. Big ass. These are not called sigils. These are called firmas. Okay. Or veves. But firmas. What's the name of the second book? It's called Nagira do Exu, invoking the spirits of Brazilian Kimbanda. Nagira do Exu. Okay. All right. When I was fucking with them, this was E.A. Coetting. The Book of Azazel. E.A. Coetting. The Grimoire of the Damned. Peace, brother Konami. What's up? I don't think there's any rituals in here, honestly. Oh, yeah, it is. All right. He got sigils in here, too. Is he still around? I think he's in jail. Honestly, I think E.A. Coetting. I don't mean to laugh, but I think he's in jail, if I'm not mistaken. I was about to type. I don't know if any of you remember me suggesting to go to this website that I used to frequent back in 2008, 2009. All right. 2008, 2009. Called Desti. All right. Desti. Oh, what's up, Le Boston Reigns, Brigitte? EA Koenig made some good, but oh, absolutely. Evoking Eternity. If you want, as a matter of fact, that's one of the best books that you can find on evocation. Evoking Eternity. All right. Um, every day we were building, every single day. We were building about grimoires or whatever. But the site is still around, but the people are gone. And the people I made friendships, they're gone. Right. Um, my name was different on there. I'm going to show you the site. Okay. This is what we talked about all day, every day. Again, 2008, called Destiny. Okay. High occult and dark arts. This dude was the shit. I ain't gonna lie. Dark Side Magic. That was his name. Okay. He used to start all his sentences. All his sentences would start with chaos. Chaos magic was just becoming known to us melanated people back then. Blackbird was cool. This is me right here. George M. Okay. We got into if you go into, I think they call Black spirituality and religion. They might have gotten rid of the occult section. But every day, all day, every day, that's what we were talking about. And there was a lot of interactions. Yeah, I think they may have taken a lot of the occult down because the person who owns it is pretty much Christian. But the site is still active and so on and so on and so on. Years ago, you was checking his info. It's okay. Honestly, it's okay. If you can make his stuff work for you, it's okay. It is. I thought he was, I'm not sure. I honestly not sure. I thought he was in jail. He owns a site called Become a Living God. Let me see. I know he was arrested, and I don't mean to lead with that, but that's pretty much the last thing I've heard from him. Yeah, and it comes up. They call him a Satanist. They removed his YouTube channel. Removed over in London, they removed his content and say he influenced a murderer of two sisters. I'm gonna show you where I went to. This is where I went. Right? YouTube removes the cultist who influenced murderer of two sisters. Okay. Yeah, the BBC, and look at this. They put magician in quotes. They say it was his fault. So anyway, that's what they always do shit like that. They blame people who. So anyway, another book that I was heavily into back then. I was all over the place. As African Cosmology of the Bantu Congo, Principles of Life and Learning. I was into all this shit. You know what I mean? Trying to see the date here. 2008. Yep. Right around that time. I know he got crossed up dealing with that one order. Oh, I think the Order of the Nine Angles. I think so. Yeah. I found a lot of Bobby Hemmett rituals on the Dusty Forum. Yeah, we talked about Bobby Hemmett every day. Every single day. We were exchanging information. It was, what was the name? Higher card. It was one day Dark Side Magic said, let's share grimoires, and all day long people he was going into their hard drives and just putting grimoires for everybody to use. Right. like I said, I think they have probably taken the occult part out. I'm pretty sure of it. He was with a. Oh, was he? Okay. Okay. All right. Come. There's another book, not well known, that you should have called Oriental Magic, and it's by the same author who wrote The Secret Lore of Magic, Idris Shah. I highly recommend this book. Idris Shah. Look at this. It is only as recently as Victorian times that archaeological science has established the remarkable fact that magical origins in High Asia have influenced communities halfway across the world. There's a fascinating story, too, in the westward sweep of the prehistoric Akkadians, the Turanian people who brought Asian ways to the Mediterranean, founding the civilizations of Assyria and Babylonia. Very many of the frightening thaumaturgic rites of the magicians during the development of the pre-Semitic age here are preserved in the Maklu tablets and a vast library of King Ashurbanipal. All right. There's a lot of good information in this book, y'all. A lot. It's called Oriental Magic. Trying to go to the beginning. Yeah, there we go. Idris Shah. Oriental Magic. Okay. Look at the table of contents here. Magic is international. Jewish magic. Solomon. Then he goes into the occult in Babylonia. Egyptian magic. All right. Juju land of the Twin Niles. We're talking about the Sudan there. The fakirs and their doctrines. Okay. The Arabian contribution, legends of the sorcerers, calling the spirits. There is just, look at this, the occult art in China, love magic. You know, there is so much good information in this particular book. Iranian magic, India, and India alchemy today, wonder workers of Tibet. Like I said, a lot of good information. I went to the occult in Babylonia because when I first got this book, Bobby Hemmett was talking a lot about this, but Babylon. Fallen is Babylon the Great, and has become a habitation of devils and a hold of every unclean spirit and a hold of every unclean and hateful bird. That's in Revelation. And you can see, I say this all the time, that you're living in Babylon. Many of these spirits were brought by the Akkadians, who really established the Babylonian culture from the far steppes of High Asia. The same rites and beliefs, in some measure, linger on in their primitive state among communities of arrested cultural development throughout the world, principally Siberian, Eskimo, and other Mongoloid peoples. Other civilizations, like the Chinese and Japanese, the Assyrians and Egyptians, adopted and adapted the cults to their own brand of thinking. This is one of the answers to the vexed question as to whether all magic has a parent root somewhere. It is not, however, the complete answer. Like I said, there is so much good information in this book. Oriental magic. Look at this. The tablets are a measure of magical lore, for the king seemed to have a mania for book collecting. Everything that was written, and this was mostly books on magic and occult matters, had to be copied and brought to him. Talking about the king of Babylon here. Ugh. The most important goddess of all is Ishtar, the Semitic goddess of battle and the local deity of the city at Sippar. In other places, she was known as the deity of love. She it was who later became Aphrodite with the Greeks and Venus to the Romans. All right. Remember, she also is Astaroth. They made her Astaroth. Okay. Sorry, I'm sitting here, I'm reading. Where y'all at? Let's see. He was okay. I have it. A.A. Rashid recommended it years ago. Haven't worked with it yet. Really? You're the first person that I know that has that particular book. I want to go to something that Bobby said in this particular lecture. All right. Check out what Bobby says here about us. Before I do that, though, I want y'all to see. Taraji Henson before I do that. Because let's be honest, they're using our sisters to promote hoism. It is what it is. Whether you're mad at me or not. Look at that. Can we get one more hit, Taraji?
Taraji, hands up. Taraji. Can you stop? Can you straight ahead? Taraji, right here, straight ahead. Thank you.
Taraji. Can we get one more hit, Taraji? I've never in my life seen Taraji dressed like that, with her ass just out. All right. But like I said, here's what Bobby says. Long time ago, it had to be at least 20 years ago. Bobby said this.
See, yeah, so that's one aspect of that. Yeah. Give me some questions. Glad to be back here.
I have a question. Yes, sir, brother.
Yeah.
Considering the topic of being a post-traumatic slave syndrome, what would be the symptoms that we can see?
The symptoms.
On the outright, as far as that traumatizing effect upon our people.
Or what we can basically see. I mean, you could just naturally behavior, appearance. I mean, it could be. I mean, take for instance, they had this guy that broke in this house last week broke in this house in a black guy, young guy, 24 years old, went to this white woman, and I think she was 95 years old, and he asked her for some water, and then raped her repeatedly, cooked some dinner, and all of that. Now, anybody know anything about rape? Rape has a lot to do with power. So after they commit that act, they don't necessarily enjoy it as much more than they do the actual power. But for the mere fact that this guy raped her repeatedly, that means that he was actually turned on. So we've gone down to that particular level of psychological conditioning where you can have these types of things that's going on. I mean, a 95-year-old woman, black or white, I mean, how can you even get turned on? So obviously you're still talking about a form of post-traumatic syndrome, slavery syndrome, that would create this type of monster to do something like that now, and basically it's the more and more the society gets that we don't have certain cultural laws.
Before I get to the rest of that, I want to say something. I don't know why I still remember this, but I remember this happened in 1992. I had just gotten out of the military. And I remember I used to listen to the news a lot back then, Philadelphia. I was still in Philadelphia. But I remember hearing about an 80-year-old woman who had gotten raped by a 21-year-old man. You know what I mean? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I said he's 21 and he raped an 80-year-old. You know what I mean? This is the behavior that we have taken on here. You see what I'm saying? And you can see it, just like Bobby said, you can see it in every facet of life that we have now. All right. Everything you see, We didn't act like this. I don't want y'all to sit here and think that this is normal, that none of the debacle, the decadent shit that we see now was normal for melanated people. I don't care what anyone says. This was not normal for us. All right? Not normal. So let's continue with what Bobby was saying. We've taken on some bullshit, to be quite honest.
Guide us. These things happen. Let me give you an example about cultural laws. We're not necessarily talking about the African laws, but we had certain things set up prior to post-slavery. We had certain laws and certain cultural
Namaste, Caribbean Grandma.
Post-slavery, mainly out of segregation, that in so many words, it was a cohesiveness that taught us how to behave. You know, things that happen, you know, but we talking about 30 years, going there almost 40 years prior to, you know, desegregation, and now these laws are actually breaking down. These cohesive laws that we used to have, not written laws, but certain things we just didn't do based on certain things in the community that was set up that way. Now we're talking about 40 years prior. Those cohesive laws are breaking down every day. We're losing more and more people based on those particular laws. So therefore, you would have this type of niggas gone wild. If you want to say some stuff like that, no. But then, so what we're talking about here is, it goes into the same thing about assimilation. Whereas you would have W.E.B. Du Bois said, well, you know, we're trying to integrate, but what are we integrating into? You know, this is right before he died, when he really, you know, saw what was going on after years of even thinking that was a part of it himself, that it's supposed to be this assimilation. But see, what happens here is we are the only people that assimilate. So we're still talking that particular post-slavery traumatic syndrome. But as we go on and on, those particular things that we had set in place was cohesive. Let me give you an example. In the 1970s, it was common for the Europeans, if they wanted to get a certain platform to pass or to be looked on as legitimate, they would make sure that they would get the black community in it. Because we set the moral standard in America at a certain time. They knew that, you know, certain black people going to do a certain thing with a certain behavior. So that's how powerful our pre-slavery behavioral pattern was based on segregation.
Bobby. All right. So there's many different breeds of humans down here where skin color has nothing to do with anything. This is the result of a multi-dimensional war. And while I totally agree with you, my point still stands. Totally agree with you, and yet my point, two things can be true at the same time. My point still stands. As far as melanated people taking on certain behaviors, I still stand by that. You know, but great point. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely correct. And that's not a disagreement. That's just saying that we're here on that. I totally agree with you. Another book. Let's see. The Book of Sigils is an excellent book. The Book of Sigils. It's called Liber Azag by Frater Akenu. Hopefully I said that correctly. The Book of Sigils. Y'all know I'm a big fan of sigils. Like I'm a big fan of mantras. It's time to describe the basic procedures of sigil magic. First of all, how does sigil magic really work? In magic, there are generally these following paradigms as described by Frater UD. You got an energetic paradigm, information paradigm, psychology paradigm, spirit paradigm, meta paradigm. Now we can speak about the procedure. The most basic one is to state a desire, sigilize, and then either fire and forget or charge it for a prolonged period of time. For fire and forget, one has to enter the state of gnosis and pass the symbol to the unconscious part of our mind. The thing is that during the gnosis, our psychic sensor is deactivated, so we can pass the information directly into our unconsciousness without any filtering. Then we have to forget about our desire, else the psychic sensor might figure it out after being reactivated and stop the execution. All right. That's one of the hardest things that I find that people have is the forgetting about it. People often want to worry. It's called lusting for results. And that actually works against you. Okay. It works against you. It was something else that I wanted to. Damn it. Wait. Oh yeah. Give me a second. This has a great point that I want to bring y'all to. It's the same book. Liber Azag, the Book of Sigils. Let me go back to this book real quick. All right. There's an interesting point here that I have highlighted. Servitors can be created through a dynamic charging or methods I will describe later. The conscious creation of the servitor is better as it gives us better control over its intent and also expiration. The expiration is also an important factor as we want to have the count of our servitors in check. The servitor is usually programmed to expire till a certain date or till his task is completed. Sometimes we also need servitors with no expiration date, but more about that later. All right. We have already spoken about our internal mechanics of sigil magic, but what about its uses? What are sigils good for? Well, you can use sigils to get a raise, to win the heart of your chosen partner, to improve your memory, learn things faster, get rid of your habits, heal faster, get rid of bad dreams, bless your family or friends, or even add few rare pieces to your vase collection. Sigil magic is good for anything as long as there's any chance for it happening. As an example, you won't become a U.S. president when you were born outside the United States, or you will never look into the space unless you are in a good position to be an astronaut. All right. This is very, very important, y'all. Why is this so important? This is important because you got to have realistic goals when it comes to magic, period. All right. You got to be realistic. As someone come to me and ask for, let me see if I can get this straight. She asked for someone to come along and take care of her and her son, a rich person. This is what she wanted done. All right. This happened years ago. I said, my first question is, do you know any rich people? All right. The answer was no. I'm just like, so what makes you think a rich person wants to come to you? What makes you attractive to someone who has a lot of money? She couldn't answer the question. Anyway, that's not being realistic. And I think people think that magic is an end all be all and it's a solution for everything. That's just not the case. Especially if you're just a dabbler, if you're just going to the spirits, whenever you have a problem, if you're just going to the spirits, periodically, if you're not building a foundation and building your magical practice and working towards being an adept, you're just a dabbler, period. All right. It's going to work against you. I'm proud. Take it or leave it. Another book, The Science of the Dogon, Decoding the African Mystery Tradition. Good book about the Dogon. Bobby Hemmitt's very first lecture is called The Dogon. This is what he decided to start with. Bobby has on a suit. very, very dressed to impress, and given, like, I think it was a 3-hour lecture on the Dogon, who charted the skies way before modern technology. All right. I wanted to know what they knew and what their beliefs and customs and rituals were. So I was heavy into this book also. I was even into, the Dragon Rouge publications, Dragon's Blood. This is Egyptian magic. The Lodge Magan or Magan, Dragon Rouge. Asenath Mason, Dragon's Blood, Dark Witchcraft. I was into everything that was considered dark. I wanted my hands on it back then. You know what I mean? You can now get these in PDF, I believe. All right. And yeah, that's a powerful group in Poland. The Book of Abrasics remains one of my favorite. This is Greco-Egyptian magic. All right. I've shown this book before. Someone asked me about it recently. The Book of Abrasics, Michael Secchitelli, or a Grimoire of the Hidden Gods. All right. And again, I know I spoke about it recently, but protective magic, amorous magic, wealth and prosperity, and curses. And it even has a chapter on transcendent, meaning ascension. Rituals that's designed to help you spiritually ascend. Again, this has always been the goal of the magicians, the occultists, to spiritually ascend. Build a soul while you're here. All right. Helping yourself with the power of Gnostic magic by Algie Manning. This is on the light side. Okay. It's on the light side. Gnosticism is very powerful. Remember, those the real deal Christians. They killed them all off. As a matter of fact, the Bible spells book that I showed y'all last week with what's his name? He's on YouTube now. Someone corrected me on that. Oh, what's his name? Oribello. Okay, Oribello. I can't remember his first name, but in this book, Bible Spells, it talks about the Gnostics. Let's see, where are we? Most of the Greek and Egyptian mystery school believed that their teachings were handed down from one or more ancient civilizations that were lost in antiquity. The Egyptian, Greek, and Eleusinian schools especially taught that their secret knowledge had been brought to them by priests who had escaped from Atlantis before it was destroyed. Others referred to the land of Hyperborea as the source of their great knowledge. I know I butchered that word. Where are we? Let's see. Here we go. Gnosis, which translates as knowledge, as a spiritual belief system, was present in either Greek and Egyptian philosophy. By the 1st century, Christian ideas were incorporated into these syncretistic systems, and by the 2nd century, the largest of them, organized by Valentinus and Basilides, were a significant rival to Christianity. I know I butchered that name. Okay. I think Aniosara goes into Gnosticism quite a bit, if I'm not mistaken. There was more on that, though. Oh, yeah. Here we go. In a Greek Gnostic papyrus, the following spell of Agathocles for producing dreams was found. Now, of course, you can't do this. All right. Take a cat, black all over, and which has been killed. Of course, please don't do that. Prepare a writing tablet and write the following with a solution of myrrh and the dream which thou desirest to be sent and put in the mouth of the cat. The text to be described runs, and then it gives this invocation here. And as you can see, these are These are barbarous words which you would find in Gnostic Egyptian texts. Okay. We can see that despite what the churches are teaching, there's a rich tradition of magical practices in Christianity that has remained hidden behind a veil of secrecy to this very day. However, some magic rituals are still an important part of most churches' Sunday services. This would come as a surprise to their congregations who may not realize that they are participating every week in something that is supposedly condemned by the church. Okay. That is, I'm not sure if I put this in Patreon already. Bible spells William Alexander Oribello. Okay. And he uses the Bible to teach some magic rituals. The Dogon also were adepts at extraterrestrial communication. Absolutely. What is the most dark magic? The most dark magic. The most, I do not know. I can't tell you. Honestly, I would say it's so many. I've had so many different experiences with dark magic that it's hard. It's really hard to say what the most dark one is. I really can't say. I can't. Sorry about that. I can't though. What's up, Angelus Carter? How are you? The most dark magic is probably gate walking. Isaac, though, are you the doctor? It depends. It depends on how far in gate walking you've gone. It really does depend. What about this book? So we're talking about dark magic. 13 Gates of the Necronomicon. This is a workbook of magic. This is Donald Tyson. He's a modern grimoire author. This one will get you there. I promise you it will. The gates that you got to go through in this, see, like this. Some dark shit in here. It really is. No, I wouldn't say Satanism either, because Satanism, to me, and in my opinion, is a philosophy set to magical rituals. What is a good book for learning about voodoo from a standpoint of learning about the voodoo gods? Milo Riggaud, Rigaud, book on voodoo. Do not go to the white supremacist that I was telling y'all about. I forgot his name. Falan Kenez, or whatever his name is. Don't go to him. There's a lot of books, but I suggest, and Bobby Hemmett suggests, now that I think about it, in one of his lectures, he suggests Milo, Rigaud. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for the question. Donald Tyson is always on point with his magic, with his knowledge. I say his magic. A Warlock's Book of Magic is something you are not going to find anywhere. I got this from Brother Moloch. All right. Brother Moloch is a Hugon who was taught, who was initiated in Haitian voodoo, and he is Caucasian. However, get the knowledge where you can, because his knowledge is on point. I will say that. As a matter of fact, he's the one who gave me this. He sent this to me when he sent me his grimoire. This is a brain. This is a brain. And I did some magic with this, because you take the brain out and you put your intentions in this. He taught me how to do this. You put your intentions under it and you anoint the brain with some kind of oil, whatever your intentions are. And every time that you think about it, you go to this brain and you pour your thoughts into it like this. I know it seems silly. It works though. I got myself stopped from being fired using that. Anti-cosmic Satanism is based on clipothic magic. The regular Satanism is basically the McDonald's department of Satanism. Damn. Okay. I got you on that one. Clip-off magic is pretty dark. That's the one when I gave you an example where I couldn't calm my body down and thought I was going to die. Because I was fucking with Asmodeus and I was mad, I was pissed, and I used blood, and I should not have done that. Very creative. Yes, indeed. Yes, Brother Moloch is an occult OG. He really is. He's been around a long time. I think he is now retired. It does not matter if he's a white man. Get off that. Get the information where you come, where you get it from. If it is legitimate, you take what you need, you throw the rest away. Fuck all that shit. Get your information where you need to get it from. Okay? Last book, Psychic Sexual Command. All right? This is not what you think it is. Okay. Dr. Mark Desade. Look at that. The International Guild of Sorcery, I think. International Guild of Occult Sciences. They have a whole order, and they have published a whole bunch of books. And I believe, what's his name is, who makes, God damn it. Brother Moloch is a part of this order, as well as not Bal Cabman, but who's the other guy who writes a lot of simple occult books? What's his name? Let's see. Not Bal Cadman, but Damon Brand. Damon Brand is also publishes his books under the IGOS, the International Guild of Occult Sciences. Okay. Can you please elaborate on the experience with Asmodeus? What happened was somebody decided not to give me my books back. I had just met her. She decided to avoid my texts, avoid my calls, and keep my books. And so I got so pissed off about it. I did a clip-off ritual in which I offer blood. Usually I offer absinthe, but I offer blood because I was pissed off. Asmodeus is in charge of the spear of burning fire. And so I experienced all that burning fire. I thought my car was on fire while I was driving to work. I smelled smoke. My body temperature heated up. And I was very literally uncomfortable as hell, where I got very little sleep. I froze my wife and children out because I put the AC down to 55 degrees. I was so hot. I was so hot and uncomfortable. I said I would never do that shit ever again. That was what happened. I speak about it on one of my earlier rituals. I'm getting so tongue-tied today. One of my earlier videos, I spoke about that. It's my experience with Asmodeus. I laugh about it now, but it was nothing funny back then. Yes, good book. It's a great book. I've heard Asmodeus is difficult to work with. Read like 3 books. Yes, he is. But if you read it from a clipothic standpoint, in the book called Kabbalah, Clip-Off, and Goetic Magic by Thomas Carlson. If you read that section on the Clip-Off, it explains each sphere and what demon presides over that sphere and what their abilities are. So, me being experimental at that point, I was also really highly into clipothic magic back then. And all those demons that's in the clip-off. Right? That was an experience I never want to go through again. I was that uncomfortable. All right. Eventually it went away, but that was some bullshit. That was some bullshit. I'm gonna check out that Bible spell. Okay. Someone stole your book. She didn't steal them, she just didn't give them back. I had just met her in a bookstore and we were talking and she said, yeah, I could tell you into something. She said, I had a headache, with you being in this aisle is something like that. So when we was talking, we found out we was both interested in magic, right? And so I said, I got some books I can lend you. And Hoodoo, Herb, and Root Magic was one of those books, physical copy. So after I tried to get my books back, after about a month, she stopped responding. And that's when it was overkill. It was overkill. I didn't need to do all that. I really didn't. But that's how mad I was. Go at it. Goetia Demons, that theirs is a reflection of energy, I've noticed. Yeah, I love it. I love the Goetia, though. Holy hell, do you think it was just the wrong approach? So no blood is... Do I think it was the wrong approach? Absolutely. Well, depending on your needs, is if it's the wrong approach. That's depending on your needs. I think it was overkill. I didn't need to do that. This wasn't some kind of revenge. She didn't threaten my life or nothing like that. I was just that mad. It was overkill. I regretted doing it. I really regret it after I went through those physical symptoms. But the punishment should fit the crime, as they say. You know what I'm saying? Why did you chill with the Goetia? I still do the Goetia. I still work with the Goetia. Or did you just... I work with one system at a time. That's the way I work. It made me... I didn't want to work with this one and this one and this one. I worked at one at a time so that I could learn it, right? I am past my time, y'all. Thanks for the questions, and thanks for joining me once again. Rest in peace to Malcolm Jamal Warner. May his family find strength in this time of mourning. Rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne, who is a musical icon with Black Sabbath. I'll see y'all Thursday. We shall continue this interesting discussion. I'm the one and only. Let me see something. Would you ever take students in for the Goetia? I have a class on Goetia. You can purchase that. I mean, if that's what you mean, then yeah, I teach Goetia as part of, I think, Magick 301 course. Some people come in and they take the individual classes, and some people come in and they take the whole course. That's up to you which one you want to do. But yeah, just check my website. It's on there, the prices and everything. So let me get on out of here, y'all. The missus will get me. We gonna eat soon. So thanks for joining me. I appreciate y'all always. I see y'all back here Thursday. I'm the one and only Magick LaCroix. There's only one. As I greet you in peace as always, have a great rest of your day, and namaste. Peace, y'all.